Well, the offseason continues to move, and it is boring, and we still have ways to go. And today, I wanted to just make a video because, one, I have not made one in a while. Two, I want to start uploading more. And three, this is something that is worth looking at. Today, we are going to be looking at some options for the New York Rangers to potentially sign to either a short-term deal or a PTO. So these are just things because why not? The Rangers did it with Jimmy Vesey last offseason. It ended up working out. And worst case, with a PTO, the player does not work out and does not fit in your team, and then they're gone. It's that simple. So today we're going to look at the options that the Rangers could look at. Ironically, these are all forwards. I didn't really like any of the defensemen that the Rangers could sign to a PTO. Plus, I feel there is a logjam in the D core right now with Gustafsson, Jones, and then Connor Mackey potentially being the seventh defenseman. Ben Harper's also in the mix. So all those guys are options on the back end. So I figured I'd go with the forward group, and then with goaltending too, there's really no one to look at. Jonathan Quick, I think, is the backup, and it's a lock. And then Igor Shesterkin is Igor Shesterkin. So plus the only goalie option really was like Brian Elliott and Yaroslav Halak, who they had last year. They're not going to bring him back if they sign Jonathan Quick, but we're going to talk about some options. Before we jump into this, leave a like if you do enjoy, subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live next on the channel. But let's jump into it. So the first one is a little bit of kind of just two of these, I will say, are a little bit of just, good feeling options, if you will. And the first one is Carl Hagelin. Now, Carl Hagelin, it's a little tricky. By the way, these are in order of how I would want them back. So this is the option that I would want the least out of all these options. So, by the way, they're not all former Rangers. I'm just saying that these are the options that I would go with from what I wouldn't versus what I would. But I would not mind Carl Hagelin back. Why? Because he was a good hockey player here, and he still is a solid hockey player. Granted, it is a little scary that he did have an eye injury, so that's obviously going to affect his career, as we saw with Mark Stahl. And I'm not sure if Carl Hagelin is even going to be playing hockey again. But if he is, I would love for the Rangers to take a look at bringing him back on a PTO. It does not hurt. Like I said, worst case, he doesn't work out and you just end up cutting him. I have his stats pulled up on screen here via Hockey Reference, as you can see. I'm also going to go over some other stats from him, but I have his standard stats and his possession metrics up. So his last season of hockey was a 2021-22 season where he had 14 points, 3 goals, 11 assists in 53 games played. Only a 4.2 shooting percentage, but a guy that Peter Laviolette is familiar with due to the time that he spent in Washington, so that also might motivate this thing to happen. But he has not played a full season, or at least close to a full season, since, as you can see, 2017, 2018 with the Penguins, which is concerning, although I guess he technically did play a full season in 2021, playing 56 games, but it's a shortened season, so who knows what would have happened in a full season. But I love this option because of the fact that the Rangers are familiar with him, and he was such a good player with the Rangers. And then you look at the possession metrics, they are not bad. Look at that Corsi for percentage at even strength. You know I'm a big Corsi guy here. Over 50% every single year of his career except for 2020, 2021, where it was, at a 48.7%, which still isn't even bad considering the role that he's playing in. He's more of a fourth-line guy at this point of his career anyway. And why the hell not? Why the hell not? You look at his chart, which I can't pull up on screen because I'm not sure if I'm able to use Evolving Hockey's charts on screen, but he is all in the purple from that 2020-2021 season, his last healthy season. And then even his last season of being healthy, 2021-2022, he is in the purple with Corsi against per 60 and Corsi for per 60. Unfortunately, the expected goals against, he's in the red, and then same with goals for per 60. Expected goals for, he's slightly in the purple, but regardless, it does not hurt. And then you go to his SAT percentages, 51.6%. So if you're not familiar with that, it is shooting attempt percentage, and you want it to be over 50%. And if it is over 50%, that means your team or the team for that player, when he is on the ice, they are generating X amount of scoring chances. So over 50% of the time, more times, which means more times than not, when Carl Hagelin is on the ice, his team is getting more shots versus the shots they are getting against on the ice. So Carl Hagelin, again, not my favorite option, but again, a little bit of a why not? Because again, it does not hurt for a PTO. Next, we have Derek Brassard, which is another bringing a guy back because you had him before. But Derek Brassard, unlike Carl Hagelin, is still playing hockey, still is healthy, and another guy where it's like, why the hell not? Why not sign him to a PTO? What does it hurt? In Ottawa last year, actually put up very respectable numbers. Had 13 goals, 10 assists for 23 points in 62 games played last year. Shot though at 14.1%, so the shooting percentage was very high, and only 10 goals is definitely not sexy whatsoever. But you look also at the faceoff percentage. He did take a respectable amount of faceoffs, was at 50%. He still could win faceoffs at a solid rate if you are looking to play him at center, but he could also play wing. You look at the Corsi 4 percentage, which I unfortunately couldn't have up on screen because of the fact that he's played for so many teams and has played for so many seasons. But his Corsi 4 percentage at even strength was at 52.3 last year. His Fenwick 4 percentage was at 52.2 last year. So relatively the same number there. So not really bad at all. And then you go to the rate metrics. His Corsi 4 per 60 at a 58.4%, which is absurd. Shots per 60 at 6.3. And then you look at the charts if you want to, and he is a solid still defensive forward. Doesn't really get it done offensively. Again, takes a lot of shots. But if you do look at his SAT percentage, it was at 51.9 last year. So not bad considering he was on Ottawa, considering the fact that he was on the third or fourth line for Ottawa. Not a bad option there whatsoever to potentially bring back. Again, not one of my favorites, but it does not hurt to at least take a look there. Then we move on to Paul Stastny, which this is where we get into more of my favorite options, where I would actually be very interested in the Rangers bringing in a guy like Paul Stastny. Why? Because one, he has familiarity with Blake Wheeler, so that might be an advocate right there for bringing in Paul Stastny. And why else? Because he's actually a solid hockey player. Did not really fit well in Carolina. He had 9 goals and 13 assists for 22 points in 73 games played last year at an 11.3 shooting percentage. Wins a lot of faceoffs. So look at that faceoff percentage, 57.6% in the faceoff dot last year, winning 280 of those faceoffs. And he's always been a guy that wins a lot of faceoffs. So right there, you're getting a guy who could fit in as the fourth line center. And then Nick Bonino can move to the wing, which I think would be beneficial for Bonino. He had 21 goals also the year before. Granted, he did shoot nearly 15%, but 21 goals is 21 goals for a third, fourth line center. Not bad. I just think for Carolina, he did not fit in well. And that was really the issue there. Because you look at all the other numbers. I mean, even the possession metrics. The Corsi 4 percentage at even strength, 60.9% for Paul Stastny last year. Fenwick 4 at 60% last year. That is no slouch. And he has been a 50% Corsi guy pretty much his entire career. And the last time he was below 50% was 2013, 2014 with the Colorado Avalanche, who, by the way, were not a great hockey team then. So I don't think it would hurt at all for the Rangers to take a look. You look at his Corsi 4 per 60, 70.5%. I think Paul Stastny would be a great fit for this team. He's surprisingly more of a guy that fits in and does things more offensively than defensively, but still it gets it done. 2021, 2022, his chart looks very good. Last year looked good offensively, not the best defensively, but still not even too bad. Still was slightly below and slightly above average in expected goals against and Corsi against per 60 for the Hurricanes last year. And then you go to his shooting percentage. So his SAT percentage was at 61.1% last year. I don't know if that's because the Carolina Hurricanes love to pepper shots on net or what, but 61% for Paul Stastny is not bad at all. I think he's another guy worth taking a look at. But again, we'll move on. Danton Heinen. Shout out to C-Jets for even putting me on Danton Heinen, because when we looked at his numbers, we were jaw-dropped in how good Danton Heinen is as a hockey player and how under the radar he could be for a signing. Only shot 8.3% last year, still put up 8 goals, 14 assists for 22 points in 65 games played. The year before, 33 points, 18 goals, 15 assists in 76 games played. You might be thinking, why are we overhyping a guy that really doesn't put up a lot of points. Why? Because this is more of a depth type player, and he's a very good and effective depth type player that is nonetheless. If you look at his possession metrics, Corsi 4 percentage, 51.3, 54% the year before. Years before that, not the greatest, but still puts up respectable numbers. Fenwick 4 percentage, over 50% as well. And then you go into the rate metrics as well. 8.2 shots per 60. Corsi 4 per 60 at 58.3 has always been above 50, unlike his Corsi percentage there. And then you get into some of the other stats. I mean, you look at the chart. The charts are very, very good looking, all in the purple last year, except for goals 4 per 60, which was slightly below average, but still was not bad. SAT percentage at 51.1%. Yeah, sign me up for Danton Heinen. And this is a guy that was playing on a Pittsburgh team who was playing fourth line type minutes. Would not be a bad signing. And you might be wondering, if I'm so excited about Danton Heinen, who could be number one? There's really only one option outside of the Rangers bringing back Patrick Kane, which I would love. But this is a guy who I think, this next guy, I think could sign for very cheap at this rate, considering no one has signed him. And maybe even a PTO at this rate, which surprises me. Tomas Tatar. Rangers had to deal with him in the playoffs last year. Holy crap, is he a solid hockey player, though? 20 goals, 28 assists for 48 points in 82 games played last year. A plus 41. I'm not a plus-minus guy, but you got to be doing something right at the same time to be a plus 41 last year. And he also had some Selke votes, not a lot, but had some. Shot at 13% last year. Isn't too high considering he scored 20 goals, but even then, he's been a consistent 20-goal guy. You add that to your lineup, that does not hurt. A guy that mostly plays left wing, you probably could put him on the right wing, and he'll be comfortable. And then you look at his possession metrics, and oh my God, are they good? Has never been below 50% in Corsi 4 percentage, 57.3 in fact last year with the New Jersey Devils, 52.8 with the Devils the year before. By the way, the Devils sucked that year. With Montreal, 58.9 in that year they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. And then you look at the rate metrics too. Very, very good. Corsi 4 per 60, very good at 66% last year. Shots per 60, 7.2%. And then you look at the charts, all in the purple and very high in the purple. That is nonetheless the year before, not so great. But then you go to that cup run and, oh, they are very good. You put him on a good team, he thrives. SAT percentage at 57.4% is no slouch. And that actually makes me curious where he would fit in on the Rangers. So that was 57.4. If we look at the Rangers, and yeah, he would have been number one on the Rangers last year with that SAT percentage. That's with guys like Panarin, guys like Zibanejad, guys like whoever you want to name, Kreider, whoever else you want to name, Hedl. Very damn impressive. I would love Tomas Tatar if the Rangers could find a way to fit him in the cap, and if they could find a way to bring him in, because holy crap, would he solve a lot of the questions that I have, and would he answer the really hole that's in that top nine? Because I feel there's still a little bit of a hole in the top nine. That's just me personally, but again, we'll have to see. But those are some of my options there. We are Jack Harrow here. We do have options, as I messed up his name there for a second. But there are options for the Rangers to potentially look at here, and those are just some of my favorites. Let me know if I left any off in the comment section. Let me know your favorite out of those options that I went over. Do you like any of them? Are you in favor? Are you against some of them? Let me know everything in the comment section down below. Again, it's PTOs. It's short-term deals. It does not hurt. Does not hurt to take a look at these guys at the very least. But that's going to be it for me. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live next on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next one.